Sorry. Just want to see if everybody's awake.
Awaken with a hearing loss.
Okay, open this public hearing. I'm going to turn it over to our city planner, Jacob Greichen.
Thank you. So this is a easement extinguishment, kind of similar to one we saw last year, but instead this is actually a new house that was built on Gable Road. If you travel on Gable, just a little west of the high school, you've probably seen it. And we've talked about the pedestrian access a couple times on it to give you some familiarity with the project. So basically, the overall story can be told with this foundation survey here. This was required by the lender, I believe, as part of the real estate transaction. And you can see that this home that was built is from this point 46.7 feet from that corner. If we look at the site plan that we approved when the building permit came through, you'll see that that distance is 20 feet. And so the home ended up getting built about 133% more towards the road than originally approved. And that does a couple things. One, the minimum yard or setback is 7 feet. And it's kind of a wedge-shaped property. In order to meet the setbacks, it was shown to be closer to the back. And two, we have a storm easement, which is over on this side, which it's encroaching into. And that's the issue that the lender has. So in order for the transaction to complete, the lender needs the portion of easement encroached upon to be removed by the city. And we've done this occasionally. And then we kind of have to think about our rules and how we deal with that. So it got built in the wrong place and quite a ways off. On the positive side, they were very cooperative in helping us get that pedestrian access, which kids have been using for a long time, and goes through the other side of this little stretch of property where the Habitat for Humanity homes are at. So normally, well, there's always a time crunch in these cases because there's a deal going through and they don't want to wait forever. Because of the cooperation with the easement, I think we can live with the reduced setback. What we would normally do is require an after-the-fact variance. That's not guaranteed and would add more than a month of time. However, it's so far off, I can't help but recommend a fine to be included. So there's a fine of $1,250 proposed. And another thing that we have is the access easement is encroached upon a little bit. One difference between the two plans, on this plan you'll see that the edge of the house is actually parallel with the west property line. But when we look at the foundation survey on the other map, you'll see that it's askew a little bit, and if we extrapolate this line, it's going into that easement a little bit, and that's significant because they built the fence that's parallel, and so that fence gets into that access easement a little bit. So that's something that we'll want to resolve. So what the proposal is before we get the mayor to sign, and will you be around tomorrow, Rick? Okay, because they have a deadline of Friday to take care of all this. So before the mayor signs the quitclaim deed, to release the easement. And I should note, we've talked to both Sue and Neil, Engineering and Public Works, and they seem okay releasing the roughly 2.5-foot portion of easement. We need the fine to be paid. We need the fence to be moved on the back portion of the house. And we already have the legal description and exhibit to finish the quitclaim deed. But once we get those things, we can get your signature, get it notarized, get it recorded, and be done with this saga.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How does that happen? That it's not built where it was slated to be built?
It's the applicant. Yeah, the applicant can probably. It'd probably be a good question for them to answer.
Okay.
If you're done with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want to grab the mic and state your name for the record, please?
My name's John Luttrell,
Okay.
and I was the builder. I'm the builder, and can you go back to the previous plot map? So when I did the actual layout, string line, dig out of the foundation, I found all the other stakes except for this one up here, and there's a lake out here, the runoff from the storm. So it's actually out in there, and KLS had a wood stake here with all their GPS settings on it and everything. So I just went off that one. It took 2 months, or it took 2 months to get someone out there to actually survey it again. So, yeah, it's my fault. I went off the wood stake. I didn't find the metal stake. So I don't
That's
know.
why it's forward more than it should be.
What's that?
Is that why it's forward more than it should be?
Yeah,
Trying
because
to-
I wanted to utilize as much backyard as possible.
Yeah.
So I figured it's such a tight lot anyways, I figured I could move it forward because, you know, it allowed that if the stake was over there, but it was 2 feet this way. So yeah, that's why.
Okay.
You guys have any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to comment? I don't think so.
That's a wrap.
Okay. So we'll close this here.